Coming up tonight, natural resources to the rescue. The Prime Minister breaks down how our seagrass could help fight climate change. Plus, a call to action. The National Security Minister wants more young Bahamians to join the ranks of the RBPF. And later, chasing the crown. Miss Bahamas teen is gearing up to take the international stage by storm. We'll tell you where she's headed as Our News Weekend starts now. This is Our News Weekend. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Megan Shepard. Earlier this week, Prime Minister Philip Davis announcing a new investment program dubbed the Sustainable Investment Program at the Clinton Global Initiative in New York. This initiative aims to close the climate financing gap. The Prime Minister also sharing with the summit the idea of changing the way developing countries like the Bahamas are viewed as a number of our natural resources help to combat climate change, a major one being sea moss.
Instead of saying small island nation, say large ocean state. Our country's seagrass meadows, which cover an astonishing 92,000 square kilometers and maybe more, appear to be absorbing more carbon than the Amazon rainforest. I'll repeat that. Our country's seagrass meadows, which cover over 92,000 square kilometers, appear to be absorbing more carbon than the Amazon rainforest.
The Prime Minister also sharing that one of our local animals helps in the process.
We have been mapping our seagrasses with the help of not just scientists, but tiger sharks, who are a critical part of our underwater surveying team, wearing cameras and sending back data points. Those sharks are going to help us become the first country in the world to issue blue carbon credits.
Meantime, National Security Minister Wayne Munro encouraging more young people to consider joining the Royal Bahamas Police Force, especially those from the Family Islands. This, as he says, more officers will soon be deployed on Abaco. Munro's comments came earlier this week when he addressed the 19th annual Abaco Business Outlook.
I can tell you that the Royal Bahamas Police Force today is a modern force. I can tell you that the technologies that we invest in for them are cutting edge. I can tell you that the real-time crime center and how it is set up is looked at regionally as examples.
You may recall that last year, a number of Bahamian officers were sent to the Turks and Caicos Islands to assist in crime-fighting efforts there. It's a move National Security Minister Wayne Munro defended following heavy criticism. Months later, Munro says it speaks to the quality of officers produced in the Bahamas.
Currently, I can tell you that we have 12 officers deployed to Turks and Caicos together with a canine and his handler. And so we can be rightfully proud of the Royal Bahamas Police Force because contrary to what people say, when an English colony runs into a problem, they call on our police force.
Police are aggressively searching for 17-year-old Kirk Omar Bailey, a Jamaican national who escaped lawful custody from the Carmichael Road Detention Center yesterday. Initial reports revealed Bailey was detained for immigration purposes and was discovered missing at 8 a.m. He has a light brown complexion, slim build, has brown eyes, black afro hair with a scar under his nose. He stands 5 feet 9 inches tall and was last seen wearing a red shirt with either white stripes or printed letters, skinny jeans, and white tennis shoes. The suspect is known to frequent the eastern area. Anyone with information that can assist police in locating Bailey is asked to contact 911, 919, the Criminal Investigation Department at 502-9991 or 2, or Crime Stoppers at 328-TIPS. Officers of the Mobile Division arresting a 24-year-old male for possession of an unlicensed firearm and ammunition. Police tell us that shortly after 6 p.m. yesterday, officers acting on information arrested the suspect in the Nassau Village area, where a high-powered weapon that contained a quantity of ammunition was recovered. Investigations continue into this matter. The Department of Labor is looking to form a new unit aimed at enforcing laws surrounding the notice of vacancy process. The announcement coming from Labor and Public Service Minister Pia Glover-Roll. The unit will be aimed at ensuring foreigners are not filling positions that can be filled by Bahamians. And if a position is filled by a foreigner, the Labor Minister says the unit will ensure a Bahamian is being trained for the role.
Employers are advised that all applications for labor certificates will be carefully reviewed to ensure that, where applicable, a Bahamian understudy must be identified before that application is processed. So this new task force will be following up to ensure that the identified Bahamian is receiving the training that they were promised so that they can eventually assimilate into the role. You can expect to see this unit fully come into force within the next 6 months or so.
The issue has been a point of contention for quite some time. Glover-Roll says while foreign labor is important, Bahamians must be first.
But there are sectors in our country where there are questions that have been asked by qualified Bahamians when they notice that certain roles, sometimes not high-skilled roles, are being filled by non-Bahamians without the existence of a clear plan to train a Bahamian for that role. And in our estimation, and in mine in particular, this has gone on for far too long. So while we may have laws and policies in place, oversight and enforcement has been lacking historically.
The Decent Work Country program for the Bahamas 2021 through 2026 was the topic of discussion at the biennial Country Program Review Workshop this week. The program promotes decent work as a key component of national development strategies in countries around the world. Deputy Director of the International Labour Organization's Decent Work Team and Office for the Caribbean, Lars Johansson, explains.
A Decent Work Country program, as we know, is a program where we outline where we want to be when it comes to decent work after a number of years. In this case, at the end of 2026. It's not only a list of all the things we want to do and all the things we want to achieve and all the things we want to change. It's also a document where we prioritize strategically what are the most important things that we really need to change and where we would like to work together with the ILO to change these things. And that's why it's a joint program between the government, workers and employers of the Bahamas and the ILO.
Well, it's time now for your first look at temperatures. Meteorologist Ian McKenzie is standing by in the Weather Center. Ian.
Thanks, Megan, and good evening, Bahamas. Here's your first look at weather. Currently outside our studios, we're under cloudy skies with a temperature of 80 degrees. Our winds are out of the east at 9 miles per hour with a feels-like temperature of 81. Current temperatures across the country at this time, we have 79 in our nation's second city, Freeport, 80 in Marsh Harbor and Allenstown, 81 in Great Harbor Key, a pair of 80s in Nicholstown and Nassau, and 82 in Governor's Harbor, Eleuthera. In the central Bahamas, we have 82 in Camps Bay, Andros, 83 in Georgetown, Deadman's Key, and Arthurstown, Cat Island, and the cool spot in the central Bahamas tonight, Coburn Towns and Salvador at 76. In the southeast Bahamas, we have 85 in Duncantown, Delectable Bay, Acklands, and 84 in Colonel Hill, Crooked Island, 82 Abrahams Bay, Mayaguana, and 84 in Providenciales, rounding out our temperature profile in the deep south, Matthewtown, coming in at 86. Here's your first look at our satellite and radar at this time. We have a blob of showers and thunderstorm activity. This is associated with troughing that created a lot of localized flooding across the area today. A lot of showers, a lot of cloudiness. We expect this to hang around, but stay tuned to our extended forecast. We will have a full detail of what's to come.
And still to come on Our News Weekend, on the world stage, the Prime Minister calling for fair financing for small island developing nations, plus stopping the spread. The Bahamas AIDS Foundation releasing their latest statistics, while also asking for your support. We'll tell you why on the other side of this break.
Doctors Hospital is reimagined primary care. We have invested to improve our health system, ensuring that accessible, affordable, world-class clinical care is closer to you. Your relationship with a primary care provider shapes the foundation of your overall health. Our new, modern primary care facilities are where critical diagnosis and true personalized treatment begin. With locations across New Providence, Grand Bahama, and Exuma, we invite you to experience the Doctors Hospital difference. Book your next appointment at clinics.doctorshos.com.
Philip Davis on the world stage this week addressing the UN General Assembly. He addressed pandemics and their impact on small island developing nations. The Prime Minister says all countries need fair financing to invest in frontline personnel, healthcare infrastructure, surveillance capacity, and local expertise.
For example, Article 9 that deals with global solidarity and trust. Article 11 that deals with co-development and transfer of technology. Article 12 on research and development. Article 40 on supply chain. Article 19 on on financing. These articles must explicitly include sustainable funding mechanisms and transparent and equitable funding allocation mechanisms, which reflect a full and fair analysis of a country's realities, rather than relying on misleading GDP per capita classifications.
The Bahamas AIDS Foundation continues to be a beacon of hope for those living with HIV/AIDS in the country, and that includes raising funds to support their daily efforts. Tonight, officials are revealing new statistics and announcing the return of their major fundraiser to combat HIV/AIDS. Jamila Mizik reports.
Getting to zero new infections and AIDS-related deaths is still the major goal for the Bahamas AIDS Foundation. In 2019, 133 persons were newly diagnosed with HIV/AIDS in the Bahamas. President Camille Lady Barnett says, although they've made incredible strides over the years, their message remains the same.
The AIDS-related deaths are down, the number of hospitalizations are down, the number of new cases are down. So we're moving in the right direction, but there's still some pockets of issues of concern that we have to deal with. And that's why one of the focuses for the AIDS Foundation in the coming years is to help to reduce stigma and discrimination.
And while HIV/AIDS can affect anyone, she says members of what they call the key population are those who experience stigma and discrimination the most.
Men who have sex with men, transgender women, sex workers, and we are in fact embarking on 2 grants, which will enable us to go into the community of those key populations. And it, of course, will require us to have persons from those key populations be a part of the project because they will have access.
And their goal is to provide family island support as well.
This year we did Bimini, Harbor Island, Exuma, Inagua, and we intend to do Long Island. And in 2024, we will do 5 more islands.
And as their efforts continue, comes the return of their major fundraiser, the 27th annual Red Ribbon Ball. This year's ball will take place on Saturday, November 4th in the Atlantis Grand Ballroom under the theme 1001 Arabian Nights. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jamila Mizik.
Still to come, on the road to gold, track sensation Devin Charlton has her sights set on the Olympics. And then the sporting community says farewell to a giant and an icon. We have the details when Our News Weekend returns. This is Our News. Welcome back. Coming off the recent World Championships in Budapest, Devin Charlton says she is ready for the Olympics that are set to be held in Paris next year. In fact, Devin is confident that the next step for her is being an Olympic medalist, and her training partner, American Masai Russell, agrees.
I'm trending upwards, and so I was fourth at the World Championships this year, and so the only place left is to get a medal, be on that podium. And we've talked about it, like our goal is for both of us to be on the podium.
I made the World Championship team this year, so that was big for me. That was the first time I was ever on like the world stage that big at a senior level. So like I said, I was just following in her footsteps. So I'm like, I seen her do the Olympics, I'd seen her do the World Championships from the prior years before. So it's just good to have a mentor like this, like to just look to talk to. And then like we said, we both gonna get a medal next year. So I'm not even going.
The pair was in town on vacation, but hosted a free hurdles clinic on Thursday at the old Thomas A. Robinson Stadium.
I think it's cool. I mean, training with Masai has been 4 years now, and I couldn't ask for a better training partner. And we've just been hanging out because we came out on vacation and decided to do this last minute. But I think it's pretty significant to have two world-class hurdlers come and have like a clinic as intimate as this. You know, it's just the two of us to maybe like 1 to 10 like ratio, and I think like that's pretty cool because like we could spend more time like just focusing on each athlete.
It just hits different when you work together with someone every day and then you see someone that you work closely with just do amazing things. It just like hits different. Then when you do like fun things like this to just give back, it just really is super meaningful.
And now to some sad news for the track and field community. The Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture, Mario Boleg, issuing a statement on the passing of Hall of Famer Alpheus Hawk Finlayson. Boleg describing Finlayson as a sporting icon and giant, adding, quote, "When it comes to sporting legends, Hawk, as he was affectionately called, name was like a guiding star. His passion for sports, especially track and field, was shared in many arenas, locally and internationally," end quote. Finlayson served as co-captain of the St. John's University track team, president of the Pioneer Sporting Club and the Bahamas Amateur Athletic Association from 1989 to 1997. He was later elected to the Central American and Caribbean Athletic Confederation as vice president. He is also a former vice president of the North American, Central American, and Caribbean Association. He was the first Bahamian to be elected to the 27-member Council of the World Athletics, formerly known as the IAAF, the world governing body of track and field. And still to come, Miss Bahamas teen is on her way to Curacao. Our Joshua Williams has her story on the other side of this break. Welcome back. A little less rainy weather today, but as for what we can expect for the rest of the weekend, well, meteorologist Ian McKenzie is back in the Weather Center with your extended weather forecast. Ian.
Thanks, Megan. Welcome back, everyone, to our extended look. Currently, right now, we have Tropical Depression 17 out there spinning well to the east of our area. No threat to land or to the Bahamas at this time, but across our area, we still have that blob of showers and thunderstorm activity. All of this is associated with troughing. This unsettled weather pattern should persist across our area pretty much throughout most of the week. Taking a look at Ophelia right now, last advisory on this system, but it will cause some flooding across the northeast U.S. throughout the course of tonight, tomorrow, and into early next week. Take a look at our boating forecast right now. Small craft caution out there. Rip current risk as well. Winds easterly 10 to 15 knots. Winds falling light and variable at times. Seas 2 to 4 feet, but up to 6 feet in those swells. And you can expect a low tide tonight at 9:28 p.m. For the central and southeast Bahamas, again, small craft caution. Risk of rip current still out there. Winds southeasterly at 15 knots. Seas running 3 to 5 feet near shore, but up to 4 to 6 offshore in those swells. Here's a look at your national forecast. And in your extended forecast, rain, go away. We expect rain throughout the course of the week, with some clearing possibly by Saturday. However, that should spell things up for some nice soup weather. Be getting up to the mid to upper 80s daytime highs, and the lows comfortable. So we should relax a bit with our BPL bill. Be getting into the mid to low 70s. That's a wrap for your evening forecast. Make it a great night, everyone.
Thanks so much, Ian. And finally, in news this evening, the Bahamas once again being represented on the world stage as one of our very own queens is slated to travel internationally in hopes of winning the crown. Our Joshua Williams reports.
Cassidy Stewart will travel to Curacao to represent the country as Miss Bahamas Teen. The 17-year-old is the deputy head girl at Queen's College. She says the feeling of being crowned was simply amazing.
It's an exciting feeling. I'm very grateful. I feel blessed because being able to speak to so much young girls and boys and just continue to spread my message of positive self-image is such a great feeling.
Cassidy shares her platform for the pageant.
My platform is called RESET, which is an acronym that stands for recognizing insecurity, embracing authenticity, silencing self-doubt, ending the cycle of comparison, and transforming into your full potential. And so we're basically just focusing on positive self-image and ensuring that a lot of persons understand that they are worthy and that they do have a purpose.
She says her own personal struggles put her on a mission to inspire others.
So I have suffered with insecurity, and even now it's still something that I'm trying to overcome. And so with my whole platform, the main focus is vulnerability, being able to share my story and be just an inspiration to others to show them that if I can overcome it, you can overcome it too, and we're going to do it together.
Since winning the crown earlier this summer, she has hit the ground running.
Locally, I have been blessed with the opportunity to speak with a lot of different organizations and meet a lot of young individuals, but further, and my plans going on is to continue with some workshops so that young individuals are given the tips and tricks and meet persons who have more experience and more knowledge than I to teach them how to overcome these feelings of insecurity and self-doubt.
She says she believes this opportunity is a part of God's plan for her life.
I am a Christian, and I believe in the scripture verse that says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord." A lot of times we try to come up with our own plans and determine what our own life will look like. But when we trust God and allow Him to take control, He opens the doors and the opportunities. I was once that girl who felt as if I would never be a beauty queen. I would never represent my country internationally. But He has the plans. And so He opened the door and showed me that it doesn't matter what I thought. It's what I have in store for you.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Joshua Williams.
Congratulations and good luck to Miss Cassidy. And thank you, Josh, for that update. And thank you for joining us for Our News Weekend. On behalf of the entire team, we hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. And also on behalf of the entire team, we extend our condolences to the Sawyer family. I'm Megan Shepard. Have a wonderful night.